All this now brings us to modern application. How does all of this incorporate into our modern day today? Well, first off, the government has agreed that because of the separation of church and state, that the church should be exempt from paying taxes. Now, you know who else is exempt from paying taxes? Prisoners. They also don't have a right to vote either, which tells me that our government has agreed that the church should not have a say-so in what goes on legally. Most churches would agree that it's frowned upon quite often, frowned upon by most churches, for a preacher to get up and announce running for president in front of his congregation, or to announce his agreement with a certain candidate, or sponsoring, or promoting a certain candidate in politics. So the church even agrees that there should be separation of church and state. But what they don't realize is if politics has no place in the sanctuary, then religious bias has no place in legislature. In fact, we can't claim to have freedom of religion, yet prohibit the right to marry based on a specific religious point of view. Keep in mind that Christians have not even asked the Muslims, the Buddhists, the Wiccans. They've not asked how these people feel about gays getting married. All of this is just from the Christian point of view. And we have already said that the Christians have already agreed that the politics does not belong in the pulpit, and therefore preaching does not belong in legislature. See, their whole standpoint is that marriage is a religious and moral institution, and it was made by God, and who are we to tamper with it? Marriage is not a religious or moral institution. Marriage is a word in the English language to signify a committed relationship between two individuals. That's what we call it. Okay? They don't call it marriage in foreign countries. They call it whatever the word that they have that means a committed relationship between two individuals. Really, we're already married. Okay? Those of us who have long-time partners, those of us in the gay community who have long-time partners, we're already married. Okay? We just don't have paperwork, and we don't have legal documentation of such. So that we can have the same protections under the law that married straight couples do. When you have a document from the U.S. government saying that you are betrothed, you are married to this person, that allows for a lot of legal protection. For example, a married couple can file jointly for taxes if you have documentation stating as such. Until gay marriage is allowed in the federal platform, I will never be able to file jointly with my spouse. I will also never be able to be labeled as next of kin if something that was to ever happen to my spouse, until this whole situation of gay marriage is resolved. According to the argument against gay marriage, marriage is between one man and one woman. So what do we now call David and Bathsheba's relationship? Knowing that he was not married to her, but had committed relationships with more than one person. What do we call them now? In fact, once we accept Christ and we choose to follow Him, we become a part of His bride. Don't argue with me, it just says it in the Bible. The same one that you're using to argue against gay marriage for, or with. It says that we are to be, that we become the bride of Christ once we accept Him and choose to follow Him. Even those of us who are male. How then can the Bible be used to argue marriage being specified to a man and a woman? Especially seeing how as I don't have a sexual relationship with Jesus. We can look at this from two different definitions. Either the definition of the right wing, which says it's between a man and a woman, which doesn't make sense in the marriage of the church to Christ. But then we could look at it from the traditional and the definition that even Noah Webster, who wrote the first dictionary, called it, which is a committed relationship between two individuals. It's not about the sex, people. It's about the committed part. There is nothing that has destroyed this, even if it was. There is nothing that has destroyed more of the sanctity of marriage than divorce. I mean, whether me and my partner are married and become spouses or not, doesn't have a reflection on your marriage. However, if something starts going awry in your relationship, divorce will do something to it. Okay? So, if we're going to outlaw, if we are going to continue to put a chokehold on gay marriage, then we need to put a chokehold on divorce. Because nothing says separation, nothing says destroy a marriage more profoundly than a divorce. By insisting on forcing religious views on politics and legislature, the church becomes blemished by war blood, greed, and corruption. The church keeps forgetting that Christ is only coming back for a spotless bride. And like I mentioned before, the priest could not enter into the Holy of Holies unless unless they were clean. Which leads us to the conclusion of this. Simply put, unless the church is ready to get its hands dirty with taxes, blood of war, and destroying the religious freedom that first started this country, it needs to stop intruding in the affairs that govern our country. Don't protest, pray. You'll do a lot more good in your prayer closet than you ever will on a protest line. Which is also probably the biggest reason for churches being cold and churches being spiritless today, is the fact that they've gotten their hands too dirty, that they can't enter into the Holy of Holies anymore. So, church, if you want to start entering into the Holy of Holies again, keep your hands clean. Keep your nose and your hands out of politics. Stop protesting on the lines and start going to your prayer closet instead. Stop protesting funerals. Stop protesting. Protesting gay-straight alliances and all this crap. Go to your prayer closet. That's what it's there for. You were only told to pray for your leaders, not protest them. I hope everyone has enjoyed or gotten I know it's not been that much of a excitement, but I hope that some of the things that I've said has really gotten and hit home to some people. And I would just like to say that no matter who you are, no matter what your background, no matter what your religious views or political views, or what your sexual orientation is, I welcome anyone to comment. Okay? Thanks for your time. You have a blessed day.